And the dog jumps up on the couch in 3, 2... The dog, if you guys can't see it, the dog is right down there just staring at us. And we're like, you're going to jump up here like the moment that I'm not expecting it. It's going to be so... Okay, but it's appropriate that you can't see her because we're talking about the Invisible Man today, everybody. Here on Thorgiween. I could not come up with an intro, so I'm just glad the dog was down there.
It's the invisible dog. Oh, hey, Peach, you turned invisible. How did that happen?
Our effects are not nearly as good as they were in this film, which is saying something considering this came out in 1933.
Yeah, the effects are really impressive in this movie.
Yeah. So, this is the continuation of Universal Monsters Theme Week, and this is one that I have never seen. I've seen almost all of the first films for each of the Universal Monsters, except for this one. I think this was the last one that I had not seen the first film of. I haven't seen a lot of the sequels. This is like the only one of the... first movies.
Like the originals, basically.
Of like Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman. Like, I haven't seen Son of Frankenstein is why I say sequels. Like, I haven't seen Dracula 2. Like, I haven't seen those, but I've seen Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Have not seen this one. This is the only one of those original, of the very first films that I have not seen. That was a long way to go for everybody to understand what I mean. But I have heard people for the longest time say that this is one of the best. And I gotta say, yeah, this actually might be my favorite of the ones we've seen this week. Bride of Frankenstein might be a little bit better than that, but this one, it's close.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of the special effects, but also Claude Rains as the Invisible Man is awesome.
Yeah.
That dude steals the show.
Even when you can't see him.
Yeah, it's all voice, and it is impressive. So, plot of this movie, it's based on the H.G. Wells novel, and it follows it pretty closely, but they did add in here a few extra characters in here. But it follows, what was the character's name? Dr. Jack Griffin, and we don't see him before the experiment.
No.
When we're first introduced to him, great introduction, by the way.
Yeah.
He just walks in during the middle of a blizzard into this bar, and just everybody stops and stares, because that's what you did in an old monster film when someone walks into a bar. They just all stop and stare at him. But he is covered, his entire face is covered in bandages. You can see his nose poking out, although, spoiler alert, it's a fake nose. He's got a jacket on that's fully buttoned up to his nose, hat, sunglasses that are wrapped all the way around his eyes. And he goes in, asks for a room for the night, and they give it to him. And the lady who runs this bar is also the lady who played the lady who I complained about in Bride of Frankenstein, the one who did nothing but scream. And I've learned a little bit more about her since then. Apparently she was mainly a stage actress, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Because every single, not even just the way she talks and acts, every motion she makes up there is clearly playing for the people in the back room. When she just adjust her dress, it's hands just moving and her body shaking. It's yeah, she knows how to play for people in the back row who can't see. So she gives him this place to stay. And he's up there, and he's just doing experiments. He's researching because he's trying to find, as he keeps putting it, a way back. And what he means is he's trying to find a way to become visible again.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually people are like, all right, you haven't been paying your rent, man. You got to get out of here. And so he goes over to this character named Klimp, it was Klimp, right?
Kemp,
not Klimp, Kemp. So he goes to this character named Kemp, who was a research assistant to him, another scientist who he worked alongside of. And at this point, Griffin has gone insane.
Mm-hmm.
Griffin is gone now. Invisible Man is here. And it's heavily implied that this experiment has driven him insane.
Yeah.
Everybody's basically saying, yeah, it is the experiment that has done this to him. This is not who he was. We even get introduced to his fiancée, who was played by Gloria Stewart. And it's important to point her out for two reasons. One, she wasn't in the book. The director was just hey, we need a romance in here. Which is the same director who did Bride of Frankenstein. So that tells you something. But yeah, he was we need a romance in here. Give him a fiancé. And so she spends basically the entire film just like, oh, Griffin, this is not you. No, oh, I pine for you. Where did you go, Griffin? But it's also important to point it out because Gloria Stewart, this was in the 1930s, and she formed the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League, which, hey.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And also, she was Rose in Titanic.
Oh.
Yeah, like not young Rose, obviously.
Old,
but,
yes.
but that's impressive. Like, holy shit. I didn't know that. I found that out while researching for this thing. So Griffin goes to Kemp, and he is now just like, you know what? I realized maybe I'm better off invisible. Maybe I could start a reign of terror. Just go out there, maybe kill a few people, important people, not important people. There's no distinction between them. It's like, he is chewing the hell out of the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even visible on screen, and just his voice work is like, oh my God. And I don't know if he was also the one in bandages there. I believe he was. He had to have been.
I think so.
Yeah, he must have been. But he is also just like the way that he just sits there, just so calm and collect as he is going on about how he's going to murder people to show how important he is. Everybody wants there to be a reign of terror from the Invisible Man, so I will provide them with a reign of terror. Like, he's got that kind of attitude to him. And that is the biggest appeal of this whole movie. This guy is just exploding with charisma. It's, I mean, not even charisma, because charisma is like charm. Like, oh, I want to get to know this guy. It's stage charisma.
Like confidence.
It's, you want to keep watching this guy. When he talks, you're like, I'm intrigued. Please go on. I'm terrified of everything you say, and I think you're a psychopath. But yes, I would like to know more about what you're talking about. And from this point forward, he forces Kemp to work for him, and man, you feel so bad for Kemp, and he's where a lot of the horror in this movie comes from, because I keep thinking of that 2020 Invisible Man film, and how one of the brilliant things it did was it would just show you like a hallway, and there'd be nothing in there, and you'd be looking at it like, I know there's something there. Oh no, no, like it made you afraid of nothing in there. And there's this moment where Kemp is all alone in his room, and he's looking around like, like he's looking at things and the camera's focusing on, and you, the audience, are like, I don't know, man, is there something there? Like, it's really impressive. Like, I keep thinking of how these are supposed to be horror films. But, you know, like, I don't watch Frankenstein and feel afraid. Wolfman, I get that one being scary. Dracula would have been scarier if there was music in there. But the camera work in there is still like, you know, the slow zoom in on his face and everything. It's like, I get how that's supposed to be creepy. Yeah, there needs to be something in here that's supposed to make you afraid. It's like, man, it does make you afraid of the idea of just being in a room with nothing. And it makes you feel so bad for Kemp because you're just thinking, oh my God, this dude, even if they catch the Invisible Man, this guy is never going to feel safe. This guy is always going to be in a room, even when there's no one there, like, oh man, could someone be here? And from there, he basically strings Kemp along on his series of mayhem, his reign of terror, as he put it. And he goes around just doing whatever he wants. It's one of the few films that has actually made me realize, like, oh man, think about how powerful just being invisible is. Just that ability to just do like whatever you want. Because there's a moment in here, it's one of the most famous scenes in here, everybody talks about, where he just takes out an entire train. I've often heard people bring up, out of all the Universal monsters, this guy, like, so many people don't even consider him like a Universal monster because, yeah, Universal monsters are supposed to be marketable. It's hard to market an invisible man. Yeah. But when you actually look at it, the Invisible Man has the highest body count out of any of the Universal monsters. Granted, because he kills 100 people in one scene. But still, it's like, God damn, man, that's impressive. Yeah, that's the thing that I really have to give this film, is that it makes you realize how terrifying just a guy.
Yes.
Because he doesn't have super strength.
No.
He can't turn into an animal. He's just a guy.
But he's he's a scientist, like, he's smart.
Yes.
He is very calculated about, like, what he does.
That's the thing.
And that's what makes him, like, so threatening. Not just because you can't see him, but because he's smart and he's like, oh, they're gonna find my tracks in the snow, so I better do this thing over here instead. So
there's a moment in which he is sitting down with Kemp and just going, we'll have to do it on this time. Because if somebody sees me, because if I go out like this, people won't be able to see me. If people see me in the rain, I will appear like a bubble. And it's like, man, just him going on like how much he has thought all this out. And yeah, you're right. I hadn't even really considered that. But you're right about that. He is a brilliant man. So, you think about like, oh, how dangerous it would be to be invisible. But if any of us just got the power to be invisible, we'd probably get caught like in 12 hours.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like, we'd screw something up. This guy is so cold and calculating. I was like, man, nobody can catch this guy. And I love the paranoia that you see going through the entire city when everybody realizes there is an invisible man going around and you see people locking their doors. And yeah, I have that thought during that sequence of like all the townsfolk reacting to this stuff. Man, yeah, imagine if they told you there is an invisible man on the loose who's going around murdering people. You wouldn't be even safe in your own home.
Yeah, it's like you can't even tell someone to look out for an invisible man because there's nothing to look out for.
Yeah, I find it very ironic that the other Invisible Man film that I just referenced, there are also like 5 other Invisible Man films in between these two, but the other one I mentioned came out in 2020 because I'm thinking about it, it kind of reminds me of COVID. In a way, stick with me here. I was just thinking of that time period in which it was like, oh man, for that entire year, I would go out, be super careful, and then I would get back and I would just immediately close the door and just be like, all right, throw everything in the wash, just shower up, and just be like, fuck, what if the very air inside my own home where I'm supposed to be safe could be dangerous? Like, yeah, a thing that you can't see could be inside your own home and you don't know. This film does a great job of just establishing why that is so frightening. But yeah, so Kemp, great. Kemp's great, but Griffin especially is great in here. There are a few side characters who are incredibly over the top, though, like the police inspector. That guy, literally one of the first lines out of his mouth is, what's all this then? It's like,
the
wow.
most stereotypical, like...
They didn't care back then. They did not. Like, he is a constable in that, like, you just hear that name, you just hear the word constable, and the first thing that comes to your mind is like, oh, it's this guy. In fact, I'm wondering, did this guy, we gotta think about when this was made, did this guy establish the stereotype of like the British police bobbies?
I don't know. I don't think so, because like I remember like British police bobbies being in like silent films.
Yeah, you're right. But
so,
but I'm thinking of like
the accent or something.
That accent, yeah.
I don't know. I think that accent's been around for a while.
I know, but like especially associating that with the police bobby of the. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. So yeah. There are a few side characters that are just kind of comical in here. I find it so interesting that the guy who directed Bride of Frankenstein did this one, and the lady, what's her name? Una O'Connor. I find it so interesting that he used her in both of these. I'm wondering if he just was a big fan of hers, or if it was just the fact that Universal Monster Films recycled actors like crazy. Which we're going to talk about a lot tomorrow, by the way. But yeah, I don't have a ton more to say about this film because I was thinking about the Universal Monster films. They were very simple and they were quick.
Yes.
Like they were each, I think this one was like 70 minutes, which makes it one of the longer films, actually. So yeah, there's not a ton to talk about in here.
It's like, I just kind of want to point out like his wife or like fiance. Mm-hmm. It's like, I thought like she would be like an important character. Like she would be the one who would try and like bring Jack back to like, bring him back to like his humanity, remind him of his sanity and how he loves her, and that, oh, you don't need to be a rich famous scientist to be with me.
Because there is that moment, we should point out, there is that moment in which he does meet her, and he's talking about how it kind of is implied that, again, we don't see him before this, but it's kind of implied that he had like an inferiority complex.
Like he mentioned like he was poor and he wanted to be rich and to be able to afford all the luxuries that he wanted, and like he felt like he wanted to give his wife and everything.
He clearly did not think that he was worthy of his fiancée, but you can tell that was a continuous problem with him. It's not like he got engaged to this beautiful woman and he was like, oh no, I'm just some poor penniless scientist. You can tell this guy his whole life has thought that, like, this guy got shoved into some lockers and he definitely did not. Oh man, it's weird thinking about this. The Invisible Man felt invisible throughout his life. Didn't even think about that.
And the one time he did not feel invisible was when he actually was invisible.
Yeah. Like, they keep saying it was the experiment that drove him mad, but you get the sense that seed was there.
Yeah.
The formula just watered it.
Yeah.
Which I find so much more fascinating.
Yeah, and it's like, I was kind of disappointed that, like, his fiancée, like, didn't try to snap him out of it. She was just, like, going along with it. It's like, yeah, I also want all these riches and valuables. Yeah, like, you keep doing you, sweetie. I support you 100%, even if you are going to kill a bunch of people. Like, really?
We've talked about this. We've talked about this a lot this week. The Universal monster films did not give a crap about the female characters in there. Like, the biggest applause we got for a female character this entire week was in The Mummy's Hand of all films, because it was the only one where the female character actually did something and contributed to the plot and actually took agency in the story. Every single one of the other women in these stories has been the item. Even in The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which was filmed in the 50s, so you'd think there would have been okay, we're a little more progressed here. 2 decades have gone by now. It's like, nope, like she is a trophy to be won in that film. And yeah, I'm thinking about this. Dracula, victim who just gets sick and goes, oh no. And then the man has to go, oh, I'll save you, honey. Even though he feels like more of a waste of paper than any of the other characters. Then there was Bride of Frankenstein we watched. The bride. So yeah, again, like the thing he's pining after the entire time. She's
more of like a MacGuffin.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Then this one. Then we did Mummy's Hand, which we talked about. This is day 5. We did a 5th one. What was the other one that we did? Bride of Frankenstein. What did we do on Tuesday?
It was. So, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, it was Creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay, yeah, okay. Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Mummy's Hand, Dracula, and they're all just, they're just standing there.
Yeah.
And even in Bride of Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein's fiance just kidnapped and taken away, and now she is being used against him, so he has to go out there and do this experiment. Yeah, that's just what women were back in these, and it sucks. And I'm thinking about the films that we have coming up later this week. There's one where I won't spoil anything, but let's just say the trend doesn't really change. Anything else that you want to add about this film?
I like how you don't see him until like the very end, where he's like,
Oh, we won't spoil that part, but at the very end, you do see him for a moment. And
like, I always found it like fascinating. It's like you don't see his origins, but like you see his ending, basically.
Yeah, it's the moment in which we as the audience can look at him as a human is... Screw it. Spoiler. He dies at the end of this. And yeah, it is kind of interesting that we don't, as the audience, are not allowed to view him as a human until after he has died.
Yeah.
And I think that there is something very metaphorical and poetic about that, because it's very clear to me that they're trying to say, all right, he has turned himself into not human. He has turned himself into a monster. And you, the audience, are not going to see him as a human until it's all over with.
Mm-hmm.
Because, then you can mourn him as the man, because Jack Griffin is dead. He's dead at the beginning of this film, and the Invisible Man is who we're following. And it's not until the Invisible Man dies that we can then mourn Jack Griffin. Even though we, the audience, never really got to know Jack Griffin. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting smaller stuff. Like, I like that you point out that, he definitely had an inferiority complex. But if we're going to talk about anything in this film besides the story, it's the special effects. It is really damn impressive. Like, you watch this and you forget it was 1933. people just started talking in movies not that long ago. It is crazy what they were able to do in this film. There's so many moments in which he's unwrapping himself and it's like a fake head so that way they can get the back of the bandages in there. But then there's other times in which they're using like really primitive green screen technology.
It was black screen, actually.
Black screen.
Yeah.
These days it's green screen. But back then, yeah, it was like a black screen they just use. And he'd be having to wear like all black underneath and then like having to unwrap around. And I will admit, in those moments, like the head movement looks far more natural. But there is the small problem that when he takes off the front part, there's
you
nothing
don't see
behind.
The bandages in the back.
There's a small problem there. But that's still really impressive.
Yes, it is.
I was looking up some of like the technical stuff that they did in here. Like there's one shot where he's looking at himself in the mirror, and that was 4 different shots that they had to combine together into one thing. And again, they didn't have Final Cut Pro. They didn't have Adobe Premiere back then. They were doing this by hand back in those days.
I will always be impressed with effects before computers because they had to like do so much crazy shit that we could just do like in a second.
I literally click on this thing behind us and I go Ultra Key green. And that's it. And I'm just thinking about, man, back in those days, they had to work their asses off.
Like they had to like shoot the same scene like 3 or 4 times and then like line it all up.
We should have been wearing green shirts for this, goddammit.
Oh, man.
Man, perfect opportunity there. God damn it. Anyway. Well, but yeah, it's like, I'll just turn my phone off. Wouldn't be one of our reviews if I didn't remember to turn my phone off. But yeah, it's one of those things that if you have never seen any of the Universal Monster films, I would honestly say this is the one I would recommend the most. Because Bride of Frankenstein, you kind of have to watch Frankenstein first. Which, the first Frankenstein is good.
Yeah.
I still would absolutely recommend that one. It's sad that I can't really recommend Dracula after we went back and rewatched. But the original Frankenstein is still good, still holds up. Bride of Frankenstein, even better than that one. But this one stands so much on its own.
Yeah.
And I think the performances they're the best of the entire Universal Monsters.
Like, I like how like Jack he does like crimes, but also he just like does silly random shit also.
You can tell he's just having fun.
Yeah, and like just
the moment where he goes into the bank. Yeah, which I love the fact that nobody in the bank notices. He just steals this carton, this like tray of money,
and then he just goes out in the street and like throws money everywhere.
And he is just cackling maniacally. And
like he will like throw a bike into like the river or something like that.
He just enjoys the fact that he can be a dick. Like I said, you get the feeling this guy gets shoved in lockers, and it's like he's just enjoying that he gets to be the bully, and just like tells goes, you know, I don't care about your rules. I don't have to obey anything. I'm the invisible man, damn it. I do whatever I want. But you also, there are moments where you just get like a sense of savagery out of him. Like we've gone full spoiler at this point. The moment in which he kills the police officer, which, I mean, that dude is such a cartoon. I was like, he's clearly going to be here for like humor throughout the rest of the film. It's like, oh no, he killed him. Oh wow. Okay. But he's on the ground just being beaten. And it feels like nerd rage. It feels like that guy who got picked on for so many years, just like beating the shit out of someone. It's like, man.
Like the cops, like the police officer did not believe the village and he says, oh, this is just a big hoax. And that basically like caused him to snap. It's like, a hoax, am I? I'll show you. And just like literally kills him. Like,
and I love that that's the first time they killed someone. So I love that that's how it comes out. And then after that, he's just like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to be evil. Just screw it. That was kind of fun. And man, the best is when he kills Kemp. Because he tells Kemp the exact time he is going to murder him. And man, think about the fact that someone you can't see told you at this exact time, I am going to kill you. You don't know if he's going to keep that. Like, it's not like you can see him coming. He could literally just be like, goodbye, Kemp. Open the door, close it, just stand there next to him until the time comes and Kemp has no idea. Like, that is so maniacal. And I love that Kemp gets in the car and he's driving away. He's like, oh, it's 10. It's 10. He said kill me at 10. And he's not going to do it. I made it. I got away. And then you just hear a voice, I think this will do, Kemp. Dude was waiting in the car for him. And yeah, it just points out, like, yeah, he's a genius. He probably, like, plotted out where Kemp would be at this exact time. And yeah, let me just say, I love that 2020 Invisible Man. That is one of the best horror films of this decade. I think that film is great. But watching this, it kind of makes me want a more accurate depiction of this version of the Invisible Man, because there is something just so maniacal and threatening about following an Invisible Man who is this precise. Because the Invisible Man from 2020, it's basically what if Elon Musk was invisible. Just weird, creepy stalker billionaire. And the story it's telling there is fantastic. But I never look at that guy and be like, oh my God, this guy is a menacing genius. Like, no, this is a dick who got like the perfect powers to be a dick. And he's just got all the money that allows him to be a dick. And again, perfect villain for our generation. But it makes me look at this version and be like, man, I would love to see somebody try and do like this version of just like the guy who calculated everything and has the perfect power to help him with that. So yeah, really high recommendation.
Yeah.
Even with everything that we said, again, Jack Griffin, the performance on him, I forgot the actor's name already and my screen went blank over there. My apologies. But yeah, that performance is electric. Like, you can't not pay attention when he's talking. So yeah, anything else that you want to add to this?
I just find it funny that the thing that gave him away was him snoring when he was sleeping.
All right, fair enough. Maybe that wasn't all that great. Yeah, there are a couple of like goofy moments in here, but there's some goofy moments that's like, man, it's actually kind of like, I like how they did that. Like the moment in which they had to come up with a plan to stop him. So before they came up with a plan, they had to sweep the room. So they just got a net and had everybody stand on one side and just walk across. And yeah, you think it's 1933. What were they going to do? I really dug that that's the lengths they had to go to try and make sure they were safe. Wonderful film. I think it might be the best of the ones we've watched this week. But come back tomorrow for the penultimate day in the Universal Monster Week, in which, this was one of the first, actually it wasn't one of, it was the first cinematic universe. It was the first shared universe of a bunch of different films. So we should watch the film where they finally started crossing over. We're doing Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Bye, everybody.
Bye.